Good afternoon and welcome to Detroit Sports Talk with SJB. And we're going to start with our Lions because we got two headlines from this morning. Pacheco has strained his MCL. Dane Campbell says it's not serious. He's going to be sidelined a few weeks, but should be ready for the start of the season. Surprise! Pacheco's hurt. Then the awful news. Cade Mays injured his wrist, looking like 8 to 10 weeks, and that puts it at week 5 at the latest. This is the only time I'm going to say the early bye may help save our ass. Thank God we signed a veteran backup center in Seth McLaughlin, because otherwise we'd be in much worse shape. It would be like last year. But we actually have a veteran center on the roster, and he's the one taking first team snaps at camp. On to the other news from over the weekend for the Lions. Amon-Ra, training camp winners and losers from over the weekend. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, and Jahmyr Gibbs, despite being in limited role. Jared Goff was sharp in situational work, while several defensive depth players flashed in scrimmage reps. Losers, Malcolm Rodriguez, DJ Reed with a minor groin injury. He's day-to-day, and Vaki were sidelined, limiting the evaluation. And the backup QB struggle, which actually led to Teddy Bridgewater leaving the team and retiring. So in response to Teddy B retiring, we signed the Pastronaut, Josh Dobbs, as our backup quarterback. As a backup, he's done some legitimate backup work and been good in spots for multiple teams, sometimes two in the same year, namely the Cardinals and the Vikings. So let's not get it twisted. He has played in the NFL. Well, considering it was next to nothing, I don't care if it works. He could be the QB3 for all I care, but it's somebody other than Luke Altmaier, who's a rookie as a UDFA. Ongoing training camp updates. Lions held tryouts for free agents Amari Burney, linebacker, Trayvon Diggs, cornerback, Milo Eifler, linebacker, Jake Haener, QB, Julian Hicks, wide receiver, Ray McLeod, wide receiver, Amen Bamiga, linebacker, and Jake Plummer, QB. So it's not like we're sitting around on our thumbs. We're trying people out. The only name I want to see on there is Freddie McGee III. I haven't seen that on a tryout list yet. I want to see it. And while I know a lot of people hate Trayvon Diggs, but we've got Renestraw and Rock Ya-Sin taking a majority of the outside snaps right now. Renestraw is like Okuda. He's good in press man. He's not good in zone. Trayvon Diggs is not good in man, but good in zone. If it's a prove-it deal for Diggs, I wouldn't mind it because that 32 to 35% of the playmakers would be good for in that zone coverages. So I do like the idea if we give him like a cheap prove-it deal. If he wants starter money, he can kick rocks. I don't even remember. But that's the Pastronaut. He has like a 142 IQ and actually has a rocket scientist degree. I personally feel like he's a future coach. On to the Pistons. Early look at 2026-27 roster. The early rotation projection centers on Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey as the primary backcourt drivers of the Sir Thompson and newly added John Callens in the wings, and Jalen Durnan remains the expected starting center because though his contract situation looms, he's trying to get more than the RFA sheet offers. But if that was the case, he would have been traded to one of those teams because somebody was going to sign him for that amount as soon as he was traded, because he went to the Sacramento Kings, he went to the LA Kings, he went Sacramento Kings, LA Clippers, he went to San Antonio, he went to Houston. I don't care who it is. I really don't. Because Goff is one of those guys that just stays healthy. If he gets nicked up, he even comes back the next game. So I'm not worried about backup quarterback. I'm really not. Well, they broke who was at the tryouts after the tryouts were done. They didn't put it out before. It wasn't like those were tryouts from Sunday because Sunday was a day off. Saturday was the tryout day. But here's my ongoing offseason questions about the Pistons so far. The Pistons offseason questions center on stalled Jalen Duren contract talks. Hey, Grandma Trace, you just missed me talking about Cade Mays and Isaiah Pacheco being injured. Pacheco is a strained MCL. Dan Campbell expects him to be back at the start of the season. Cade Mays is probably out 8 to 10 weeks with whatever the wrist injury is, barring it doesn't need surgery. If it needs surgery, it might be longer, but fingers crossed, knock on wood. But thank God we signed Seth McLaughlin because he's the one taking first team snaps, a veteran backup center, and I'm glad we got him because otherwise we'd be in much worse shape. And if it is 8 to 10 weeks, that means he could be back by week 5 at the latest, which means that he gets the bye week to get back in shape, and I'm good with that. I mean, other than the Bills, the only one that might give us a test, but they're more injured than we are is the Panthers. I want him back by week 7. In new addition, like John Collins and Isaiah Joe fit into the rotation for the Pistons. Analysis questioned Detroit's quiet offseason, wondering if the roster has improved enough to climb into the Eastern Conference standings, even though they were the first seed overall. I'll ask that question in the rapid fire. Detroit Red Wings, inside look at the Red Wings' direction. The Red Wings are entering a pivotal transitional point as the organization reshapes a long-term direction. GM Steve Iverson stepping aside signals a major philosophical shift. While Dylan Larkin's trade request forces Detroit to confront its identity and leadership core, the team added Victor Arvidsson to boost scoring and Keegan Kolesar to add physicality, reflecting a push towards a tougher, more competitive roster. Analysts note that Detroit must balance developing young talent with immediate improvement, making this offseason one of the franchise's most consequential in years. And now we're on to the Detroit Tigers. Jackson Joe makes his first start in a year and a half, and it was an electric return. 5 innings pitched, 1 hit, 0 runs, 0 walks, and 5 Ks. A 5-inning, 1-hit shutout in his first start back from Tommy John surgery. Jackson Jobe's long-awaited return delivered everything Tiger fans hoped for, flashing triple-digit velocity. He struck out the first batter he faced and dominated across 5 scoreless innings, allowing just 1 hit. The outing showcased why he was a top 3 draft pick, combining power stuff with poise after 14 months away. Analysts cautioned against overreacting, but agreed the performance was an encouraging sign for Detroit's future rotation. The Tigers are trending up on August 9th. The Tigers are gaining momentum after a strong stretch of games that showcase improved pitching depth, timely hitting, and meaningful contributions from young talent. Detroit's rotation has stabilized despite recent trades with arms like Reese Olson and Troy Melton stepping into larger roles. The promotion of top prospect Josu Brasino added excitement, while veterans such as Matt Bierling and Gleyber Torres provided steady production. Analysts note the Tigers are playing cleaner baseball, executing late in games, and positioning themselves as a legitimate threat in the AL playoff race as confidence builds across the clubhouse. They are in second place, 58 and 60. The other 2 teams have 58 wins, but they played more games and lost more games. So we're in second place and 3.5 games out of first. So you're saying there's a chance. Now on to my focal point. Troy Melton isn't just holding the line after Scooble's departure. He's already pushing the Tigers forwards with a season stat line of a 1.46 ERA, 80 innings pitched, 69 strikeouts, and a whip of 0.900. Melton has stepped into the rotation as a calm attacking presence and that mirrors Scooble's early rise. Yesterday's outing only reinforced it. Efficient, composed, fearless in big moments. Detroit needed someone to seize that vacancy, and Melton's doing it with authority. He's not the future replacement, he's the present one. And the Tigers are responding to his energy. 7-1 in his starting role this season. He has now pitched in the last 4 games and not given up a run. 4 games started, not giving up a run, and 3-1 in those outings. So now let's have the fun part of the show. What do you think of the signing of the Pastronaut for the league minimum, fire or ice? Anyone on the tryouts that interests you as a Lions fan? I'll go over them again. Amari Burney, linebacker; Trayvon Diggs, cornerback; Milo Eifler, linebacker; Jake Hayner, QB; Julian Hicks, wide receiver; Ray McLeod, wide receiver; Amen Agbanbamiga, linebacker; and Jake Plummer, QB. I kind of like the idea of Diggs for the zone packages and Ray McLeod because he has great return ability. Evidently, if we're still looking for returning type wide receivers, Dortch, Lovett, and all those guys at the bottom in that competing for that sixth spot must not be doing that well. Does the Cade Mays injury that we may keep him out until week 5 really hurt the long-term goal of the season, fire or ice? We don't have a roster spot for him, and Altmaier's performing well. So I don't get it. Eh, Neither one of those QBs made my eyebrows raise when I saw the names. Jake Hayner was all right for Fresno State, has a big arm, slightly athletic, but and Jake Plummer, sorry, doesn't move the needle for me. On to the Pistons questions. Are the Detroit Pistons still a regular season favorite in the East after winning 61 games last season with the additions they have, fire or ice? Do we still need a partner for shooting guard for Cade, fire or ice? Will Duran sign the RFA sheet? Fire or ice? Are the additions enough on the Red Wing? Oh, wait. Will they ever find a GM or an executive vice president for the Red Wings? Fire or ice? I don't think anybody wants to work with Chris Ilitch. Yeah, I think so too. I don't think anybody wants to work with Chris Ilitch. He finally let Yzerman trade a first rounder, and then we had to trade back for a first rounder because the guy didn't work out. Are the addition on the Red Wings roster enough to push them into the playoffs next season? Fire or ice? On to the Tigers. How happy with Job's performance on Saturday? Fire for ecstatic, ice for horrible, lukewarm because you're tentative, because they did only let him throw about 72 pitches. Is Troy Melton him? Fire or ice? I think this guy is our future. I think he's the ace, and Job could be our two. This is our new Scooble and Mize. I want to say thank you to everybody who's been watching. That's the end of the Fire and Ice. Yes, Melton is the ace. Job could be our new Mize. Because let's face it, they've had similar career paths. Melton's been firing away in the minors, waiting for his shot, came up to the bullpen, got a chance to start this year and haven't given it back. Job, injured for 14 months. Comes back, wins his first game, looks just like Casey Mize did his first game this season when he came back. So that's it. That's all I got. You got any questions for me? Ask them now because I'll cover it. I talked about Cade Mays. I talked about the Pacheco injury, which means we might be bringing in more running backs if they're worried about it going past the season. But Dan Campbell is confident he'll be ready week 1 because we are talking about 5 weeks away. Well, 4 weeks away anyways. We got the 3 weeks of preseason. This weekend is our first preseason game. We got those 3 weeks. We got the cut down week, and then it's on to work. So 3 weeks, 4 weeks, that's 5 weeks to get ready. 5 Sundays. 34 days to get it right. Seth McLaughlin, do your job, do it well, to hold the line until Cade Mays comes back from injury, and we'll be fine. I still think we're going at 3-2, at best 4-1 with what we got on our offensive line. Well, tune in tomorrow as I find out what the report was on how Seth McLaughlin did to filling in for Cade Mays. This has been another episode of Detroit Sports Talk with SJB. I want to thank each one of you for watching. Steve, Nick, I know MDE's out there and we'll watch it later. All of you. Thank you. You are the reason I do this. I talk about subscribers just because I'm getting close, but it's not what I did this for. I did this to bring Detroit sports fans together. So as always, try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. That's the only way to make the world a better place. It starts right here. Much love to everybody in the chat, and we are
of the city where the nights stay alive. Lions roar in the chat. We're ready to thrive. Smoking Jeremy keeps it lit. Passion ignites. Keegan the villain knows the stakes are in sight. In the fan cave we rise, raising cups to the sky. Here in the lion's den, we're hungry for gold, for that Super Bowl glory. We'll never grow old. Raise your voice, let it echo under the floodlights in this fan cave.